6, stem and leaf diagram. In this lesson, we shall learn about the stem and leaf diagram, which is just another way of representing data. Now, we are familiar with various methods of representing data, such as the bar graph, the line graph, pie charts, and others. And all of these various methods of representing data have a simple purpose, which is to help us understand what information the data is revealing. Let's have a look at this example here. Here we are given the ages of 3 boys. One is 19, one is 17, and one is 24. Maybe we should call them young men. And we are representing it as a stem and leaf diagram. So what I would like you to do is just pause the video here for a moment and have a look at how this data is converted into a stem and leaf diagram and see exactly what's going on. So you probably had a good guess at what is going on here, and basically a stem and leaf diagram is made out of 2 parts, right? So let's explore really what is going on here. Well, firstly, let's look at the name. Why is it called a stem and leaf diagram? Well, it has nothing to do with plants, but it is named a stem and leaf diagram simply for the fact that the table is really divided into 2 parts. Here we have this dividing line in the middle, and then on the left side here we have what we call the stem, which is made out of the tens in this case. So here are the tens in our numbers. And so the tens are written on the left side as the stem. And then we have the units here on the other side written as the leaves. Now, the interesting thing about it is that you see, just as in this diagram, we only have 1 stem, and coming out of it, we have a number of leaves here. So similarly, we want to just say that we have only 1 stem number. So the number 1 here, for example, is shared by the number 9 and the number 7 from 19 and 17. And so similarly, you see here 1 stem is shared by different leaves. And so that is how the stem and leaf diagram gets its name, because the stems are just single numbers or single figures, and the leaves are many. So that's really how the stem and leaf diagram gets its name. So now let's get into building one ourselves. Get your note paper ready, because we're going to build this together step by step. So what have we got here? Here we have some data. You know, in statistics, we are always looking at data representing some information. And in this case, we have the ages of 30 members of a class given here. And when you look at them, they stretch from 8 and it goes up to whatever number it does. But what we're going to do is we are going to now draw a stem and leaf diagram to represent this data. And then we use it later to solve some questions as well. So let's get ready. So what do we do first? Well, the first step is actually simply to draw a line. So what I would like you to do is just draw a line on your notepad. And then the next step now is we're going to build our stems and our leaf, our stem and our leaves. Now, how do we do this? First, you got to look at the data. And in this case, we're going to put as our stems just the tens, and the leaves are going to be the units. So we're going to scan through and we're going to look and see, well, what kind of numbers are coming up for our stems, what kind of numbers are coming up. And so just have a look through here and then try to arrange them on the left-hand side and ascending order. Start with the smallest and build up from there. Let's do the first one together. We look and scan through here. We see that our smallest number actually is the number 8, and number 8 has no tens. So we'll probably start here, definitely start here with 0. Then we scan through again and we look and we see what else do we have. Yes, we have some numbers that have 1 10. So the 1 will come next. So complete this part, pause the video here, complete this part, and then we see you when you've done that. So I'm sure you've completed this part. So let's see what it should really look like. Well, if you've done it well, you should have the numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 arranged here on the left side of the line, which represents the dividing line between the stems and the leaves, right? So here we are. So what's the next step? The next step now is to put in our leaves, right? And the way we're going to do that is we're going to just scan through our numbers, starting with the first one here, and it's 19. So let's cross it out so that we know we've used it. And we look at where we're going to put it. Well, the stem is 1 and the leaf here is 9. So that's what we're going to do. So that's what we're going to do first. We're going to look through all of our numbers and write them in. So that's it, 19. As I said, we cross it out because we've used it. Then we look at the next number, 22. Yes, cross it out and use it. Where are we going to put it? There, I'm sure you understand that. Next to the 2 for the tens, we write at 22. And we're going to do that for all of the other numbers. So we've used the 19, we've used the 22, and we're going to now continue with 31. Pause the video here and complete this part of the stem and leaf diagram. And let's continue when you've done that. So you should have by now put in all of your numbers. So let's compare your work to mine. So if you've done it well, you should see all of these numbers here. Why? Because like I was saying, the 19 started us off, and then the 22. So we had a 2 here, and then the 1 with the 3, and then back to here, 7, and so on it went. So check your work against mine. And if you've got that, then you're well on the way to understanding how to build a stem and leaf plot. So what do we do next? We're not quite done. You might think we are done, but there's still 2 small steps. The next step now is we need to rearrange our leaves in ascending order, meaning from the smallest number to the largest. So here there's only one number, so there's nothing to do. So what we're going to do here is we're going to draw a new line right in our stems again, and then we are going to rearrange these numbers from smallest to largest. So pause the video here and have a go at that, rearranging each of these leaves according to their size from smallest to largest. So I'm sure you got that. So let's compare your work to mine. Here we've arranged them in order from smallest to largest. So we have here the 110, and so that becomes the number 12, 15, 17, 19, and 19. And we've done that for all of our numbers. And so we're almost there. The last crucial step now is simply to put in a key. So please remember, when you draw a stem and leaf plot, you must always put in a key to indicate what the numbers stand for. See, in this case, we're told that 62 is represented by 6 on the left-hand side in the stem side, 6 tenths, and 2 units on the leaf side, meaning 62. Now, you wonder, why must you do that? Well, because you might have another stem and leaf plot where instead of having these numbers up here, you might have had 1.9, and you might have had 2.2, and you might have had 3.1. Meaning that all of these numbers might have been decimal numbers, and so you would have still got the same results here, but in this case, then 6 line 2 would have meant 6.2, right? And it would have been a very different set of data. So you must always include a key. In this case, we're dealing with numbers which are basically tens in their tens up to 64, I think was our largest number. And the key will allow any person to really understand what data the stem and leaf plot really represents. So if you understand this, then you're now ready to do some work with this, right? So that's our lesson here. Let's apply it to answering some questions which will follow now.